I spent a whole video tearing apart Project 2025's plans for rail transit in the United States. But in that video, I also said that I think transit advocates need to do more than just say we oppose Project 2025's proposals. We need to propose an alternative vision to Project 2025 when it comes to rail transit. And I'll be proposing that alternative vision in today's video. And to outline my alternative vision, I'll break this up into two sections: my alternative vision for local and regional rail transit, and my alternative vision for Amtrak. So let's start with my alternative vision for local and regional rail transit. This alternative vision for local and regional rail transit has three ideas. Here's the first idea. Unlike what Project 2025 believes, I think we need to encourage transit-friendly land uses. While Project 2025 encourages the building of the single-family home, I would encourage something called transit-oriented planning, higher density development concentrated near mass transit facilities. This would allow more people to easily survive without needing to own a car. And this is important because mass transit is generally cheaper, kinder to the environment, and safer than driving a car. While there will probably be a desire for some people to live in a single family home, perhaps due to it being associated with the American dream, the recognition of this dream must be balanced with the collective need to address economic injustice and climate change. The second idea involves something that Project 2025 doesn't even touch on. That thing is investigating the root causes of cost overruns for transit projects. Rail project after rail project across the United States over the course of several decades has experienced cost overruns. Such overruns are capable of delaying and even derailing certain transit projects. Furthermore, without such overruns, cities and states might then have the money to pursue other transit projects and be more ambitious with their transit plans. These investigations can happen through congressional hearings, and these congressional hearings can lead to policy recommendations for transit agencies and perhaps even recommendations for legislation that tries to tackle such issues. If we can put an end to these chronic cost overruns for rail projects, perhaps it'll be easier to imagine more ambitious transit projects for American metropolitan areas. The third idea involves the U.S. Department of Transportation's grant distribution process. As I said in my Project 2025 video, the playbook wants to have Congress, quote, send transportation grants to each of the 50 states and allow each state to purchase transportation services that it thinks are best, end quote. This is in contrast with what happens now, where money goes directly to individual transit agencies. I would still recommend sending grants to individual transit agencies, as I think the agencies involved in the day-to-day operations of their systems know what is needed better than some political hack who is not well versed in those day-to-day operations. However, I think that there are three types of grants in particular that should be made a high priority. The first type of grant would be ones that help expand mass transit to underserved communities, so that more people can use mass transit. I think some people end up driving, not because they want to, but because they have no other choice. Expanding mass transit in underserved communities will give more people the option of taking mass transit. The second type of grant would be the ones that focus on maintenance and repairs. This is in light of how a number of major local systems, such as New York, Chicago, and Boston, have gotten press for maintenance issues in recent years. This is not the most attention-grabbing of issues until we discover that a major system is in desperate need of repairs. But it is clear that many rail systems, and particularly major older rail systems, such as what you'd find in these three cities, are in desperate need of maintenance and repairs. But by having grants focusing on maintenance and repairs, we can lessen the chances of that desperation creeping in. The third type of grant would be ones that involve projects to improve the climate resiliency of systems. Improving climate resiliency, for the record, would involve making a train system less susceptible to damage due to extreme weather events likely aggravated by climate change. One of the ironies caused by climate change is that one of the more climate-friendly modes of transportation, train travel, faces challenges themselves due to climate change. From stormwater flooding that has plagued New York City subways during storms, to trains on San Francisco's BART system having to slow down in extreme heat in order to prevent derailments, the United States has local and regional train systems that need significantly better climate resiliency. These are the main proposals I have for a Project 2025 alternative for local and regional rail transit. But let's now get to my Project 2025 alternative for Amtrak. Because unlike Project 2025, we are mentioning Amtrak. Here are the three things I propose for Amtrak. The first thing I'd propose for Amtrak in my Project 2025 alternative is a focus on better enforcing the law when it comes to passenger rail getting priority over freight rail. I've already dedicated a whole video to this topic, and I feel like I'm becoming a broken record on this issue. So if you want to learn more about this law, I would recommend that you check that video out. But one thing I'll add is that if the federal government is only going to sue freight rail companies twice in half a century over not complying with this law, I think the law on passenger rail priority should be amended so that Amtrak is empowered to themselves sue the freight rail companies for delaying Amtrak trains. Amtrak seems to care deeply about this issue, more so than any presidential administration has. Because of that, I think giving Amtrak more legal power in this realm would result in accountability, which in turn would be a good thing for passenger rail service. If we figure out this freight rail interference issue, it'll improve service on Amtrak. The improved service on Amtrak would mean that more customers would be interested in taking Amtrak, thus improving Amtrak's revenue and Amtrak's financial outlook. And because this is a policy shift that might help Amtrak and the federal government fiscally, I see this as a top priority. My second Amtrak proposal in the Project 2025 alternative would focus on making sure the Amtrak Connect's vision is fully implemented. Amtrak estimated in 2021 that full implementation of its vision would cost $75 billion. President Biden's infrastructure bill only provided a portion of that necessary money. In a move to encourage environmentally sustainable mass transit options, I think the next presidential administration should aggressively pursue funding for the rest of the Amtrak Connects plan. But I think that we should go further than the Amtrak Connects plan. We should develop plans for high-speed rail and appropriate corridors. This gets to my third and final Amtrak proposal in the Project 2025 alternative, providing Amtrak the means necessary to investigate which corridors are appropriate for high-speed rail. And then, once Amtrak has done said investigating, Congress and the President should provide the means necessary for Amtrak to start developing these high-speed corridors. Yes, America is spread out, but there are certainly some parts of the country that have the population density and the demand to support high-speed rail. And we should get high-speed rail to those parts of the country that can support it. I'm sure that there are other things that I'm forgetting, but those are the major things that I can think of for my alternative vision to Project 2025 for rail transit. A summary of that alternative vision is outlined in the screen I'm showing. The too long, didn't listen version is that Project 2025 proposes a car-centric version for transit, while I propose a mass transit-centric version for transit. If I'm forgetting something, or if you have other thoughts on my alternative to Project 2025's vision for rail transit, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Also, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you and have a good day.